welcome to our third live session called Educator's Mindset. I am Marie. I am with Pierre, Senior Facilitation Specialist, and Mark, Braille Expert.
Hello.
And we are in Billund, Denmark at the LEGO Foundation. So I can see people joining us. While everyone is coming, maybe we can start with a poll, because we would like to know more about you, where you are from, what is your job, or have you been attending our online course yet or not? So I'm just launching the poll. I will moderate the session, so just be here to listen to you and save time if I can, and collect all the questions you can have, the comments, so please use the chat to do so. How many people do we need for the poll? What do you think? We can wait a little bit?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I'm sure you have lots of things to say today.
But we are also curious to know who is here.
Okay.
We need to know if you say good morning or good night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good evening.
For us, it's 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. as we are in Denmark, and it's already night. So if we look at the results, we have people from North America, a third of you, no one for South America so far. More than half of you are from Europe, no one from Africa, but we have one people coming from Asia and the one from Oceania, but that was expected. It's the middle of the night in Australia or New Zealand, so yes, a little bit more time to see if this changes. And about your job title, so we have a majority of teacher of students with visual impairments, 70% so far. Some are mainstream teacher, welcome. Teaching assistant also, so welcome too. No low vision specialists so far. Orientation and mobility specialists are here. And we don't have occupational therapists, parents, but we have other. So please use the chat to indicate who you are, what is your job, and what is other, what other means. Maybe I can wait just a little bit and stop the poll, but just for the last question, who was, are you or have you been attending the online course? We call it the MOOC. So yeah, 72% of you already know this course, 20% don't, and 8% plan to do it, to follow it. So if you don't know where to find, you have all the information on our website, legobraillebricks.com. You go on the facilitation section and you will find it. I will share all the information in the chat in a few minutes with you. So do we have, I think we can still wait 1 or 2 minutes. We have people from Spain, Carrie from Ontario, Canada. We have England with Ruth. We have Spain teachers. We have people from Curriculum Resource Officer, Lisbon also. So who wants to speak Portuguese?
Bom dia.
Sí. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Okay, so maybe we can start. I think, yeah, we've waited for many people to come. Ontario is coming too. We know that parents and teachers often swing between free play and instruction, spending less time in the middle. So, Pierre, can you introduce us the different types of play?
Sure, definitely, or the different type of instruction towards play. We, in the LEGO Foundation, we oftentimes use this continuum, this graphic, which we'll put on in a minute, where we like to look at our own instruction and try to see if we are, how much choice we give our students. Are we like totally instructing them, telling them exactly what to do, or are we just literally leaving them by themselves and letting them do whatever they want, which would be the other side of the of the graphics which Marie has put on now. So on the one side, we have like total free play, do whatever you want. On the other side, there is do exactly as I say, the way I say it, when I say it. We would never say that there's anything of this that is right or wrong. Both positions, outer positions, could actually allow you to become playful. So if I have something that I'm saying I want Mark to copy, that could actually be quite enjoyable for Mark, and it could be quite fun. So the structure don't need to be bad. On the other side, kind of do whatever you want, kind of free play could also both be fun, but it could also be frustrating. And I think during today, we're going to see a few examples of kind of these different positions and talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so we have prepared a few videos showing children from all over the world, and we really are thankful of people who have shared the videos that we are going to use today. So the first one comes from New Zealand. So even if they are sleeping now, they have sent us videos. And in this video, before watching it, we are going just to give you a few explanations. In fact, the boy on the video was discovering the toolkit for the first time, and the teacher gives him a few explanations of what is in the box, the Lego braille bricks, and so on. And then we are going to see the video, what's happened, and maybe we can ask your opinion about what's happened.
Sure. I'd also like to hear people's opinion. You watching kind of, in terms of this continuum we just talked about, from free play to structured play, this video we're going to see, try to reflect a little bit upon where do you think that is on this line? Let's see it.
Yes.
Eyebrow breaths, yeah. Eyebrow breaths. A circle. Extra. What is it?
Yeah, and on this video, sometimes you can hear the teacher speaking and intervene. And the question also that I have for you, Pierre, is we know when you are a teacher for the visually impaired, we think that we have to give enough information for the child to be able to make the activity. But how can we be sure not to intervene too much, in fact, in the process of playing and learning?
That is generally a really good question, Mark, which is complicated for us educators, right? Because we are oftentimes concerned that our students would fail or would have a bad experience in it. So we tend to give a lot of information. But maybe, as we see in this video here, that I would say the child is actually just exploring and is coming up with like almost his own game. He wants to do a circle, or he's just trying to figure it out with very little instruction. Yeah. And again, to all of you out there, you could in the chat, you could kind of write if you kind of where you kind of feel, was this free play? Was this very directed? What was it? Was it in between? I think, and we'll do this with all the videos, this little game. I would probably already reveal that with watching this video, kind of, I would say there was a lot of elements of free play in this. He had a lot of choice. He decided what wanted to do with the bricks and where to put them, which ones to take. But there was also things that had been decided by the teacher, right? So these are the things you are working with. We're sitting here. Maybe there was a time limit. Maybe there were other frames that had been set by the teacher. So we don't know that full story, right? But it's always curious to kind of, from us educators, to kind of investigate how much choice does the child have in this activity? Can they co-design the activity? Can they come up with things, or should they do what I ask them to do? So really just to be curious about that, it's a good idea.
Yeah, and also what is important at the really beginning, you can see that the teacher had prepared a box, a toolkit, and arranged the bricks in certain order. So of course the child was free to play and to make what he wanted, but the teacher has prepared the setting for the activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just wanted to say that we have someone from New Zealand watching us.
Oh,
right
great.
now. Hey, Ellen.
You're brave. Thank you.
So we have several comments. Looked like discovery learning, which seemed fine for this setting.
Mm-hmm.
And also he has positively no pattern shape construct to follow. He can explore options.
Mm-hmm. And exactly. And but what we will of course know is that children are different, and some children could actually potentially get stuck in this situation with very little instruction and would just be sitting there and not really get going. But this child clearly does, and I would say so maybe it's good to maybe stay back for a while, and if he then gets stuck and kind of stops and it's not fun anymore, then we could consider if we should step in with a challenge or a question, or maybe just play along, just sit down and be a co-player. Is definitely also something that can be really well to keep the play going.
Yeah, and as he was discovering the bricks, what was nice is that at some point he put the bricks in the incorrect position, we could say, because he was testing, and the teacher didn't say anything, and then he discovered that maybe he can turn the bricks and place it correctly on the base plate, and he learned by himself.
That's play in a nutshell, what you talk about there.
Yeah.
You try, you fix, you're not afraid of failing, you just kind of really figure it out by iterating and kind of getting to it, which is really enjoyable when you then kind of, you kind of get it in the end. But if you're told how to do it correctly from the beginning, you never get that feeling.
Exactly.
We have more comments.
Yeah.
Bridget says, through play, the instructors learns how well the child can place bricks, etc. So therefore can play future lessons. And can plan future lessons. And also Mary says, surely it's only a state of being stuck if it's not going the way you might have wanted.
Sure. And that's, but that's, I think that's how play usually evolves. Also, if we look at children at recess time, kind of, we start playing something and then suddenly something happens. Now it's not fun anymore. We kind of stop. And then either we negotiate. Now Mary wants to come and join and we need to figure out new rules for our little game and like that. So you would go in and out of that play state, and the same thing happens for these children. I'll say the child we just watched here, he like stayed focused and was like keeping attention and had his like little game going on for quite a while, which was really nice to see.
Yeah, great. So this activity was more on the free play part side, you can say.
Left side of that model.
Yeah, great. And question? No, I was just to say a few words about things that we have to have in mind when we are working with blind students. Is that sometimes, most of the time, in a lot of countries, we as professionals work side by side, only one by one, sometimes with a blind child ourselves. And that's not that easy not to intervene too much. So that's also why it's important to have your opinion about that. And that's really something that is important, because we can keep on talking in front of the child to help him or her, even if the child can play and discover by himself.
Yeah, it is a good point. It's a good balance to strike, right?
Yeah.
It is complicated. I think I only urge you educators to kind of investigate your own preferences like that. So if you have a tendency of like helping a lot, then try maybe to help less, or the other way around. If you leave them alone for too long, kind of, why don't you try to step in and be a co-player or a guide or a coach? And really, it sometimes is hard for ourselves, but if we could have other teachers actually come and help and give a little bit of supervision on how we do things, it can have so much value. I will never say that this is easy. What is the right level of instruction? Because it depends so much on the child. One of my really dear colleagues, Dr. Hanne Jensen, she talks about that if you are in doubt as an educator, always go with the engagement of the child. So if you feel that there's energy in what the child is doing right now, then maybe you shouldn't interfere too much. If you feel that the energy is dying out, then maybe you could try gently to step in and come with suggestions or ask questions or like
and that's something that's very important, and that leads us of what we have already said in the previous session about an activity should be joyful and children should be actively engaged. And that's something that sometimes it's difficult to see and to evaluate with blind children, because they can seem passive but can be thinking or having fun, and it's not that evidence always to see that they are enjoying the activities. And for the professionals, that can be also a difficulty that we can have.
Yeah, exactly.
And Elaine, who seems to know these children, this child says, this child also has fluctuating vision. Therefore, for him, it is also about playing and exploring in relation to his visual functioning at that time.
Okay.
And I think at the beginning of the video, we could hear that he was really happy.
Yeah, I'll say that attention span, staying on task, not kind of leaving it is a good sign. One thing that I would oftentimes would be looking for, how long do they want to, or do they want to come back and do it again? It's also really a good sign that they kind of enjoyed the play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good.
Another video?
Yeah.
The same game, sorry, as before.
Yeah, in fact, just a few words about the setting for the next video. And as Pierre said, of course, you can give your thoughts before Pierre can intervene, even if the video is very short. And that's a video that is coming from Brazil. So it's in Portuguese, and just a quick description of what is on the screen. There is a box full of Lego bricks and with the number on the bricks. You have another box, a white box with balls inside, and the students have two egg carton boxes where in the first one the number sign is placed. And so maybe we can watch the video and I can read and explain during it, because that's in Portuguese. So in fact she's explaining that he has to pick a brick from the ball, then the boy takes it, reads what is on the brick, say that it is number 1, and the teacher engaged the children to take the number of balls necessary to write the number in the egg carton. So he places it at number 1 because it was 1.
Number 1, very good.
Yeah.
Says.
And so the people from Portugal have understood, but he may be the only one, so that's why I have translated. Yeah, so Pierre, maybe what's
but I would like to ask you guys out there first, if you think about the continuum from free play to totally structured instruction, the video we just saw here, where would you, if you should put a dot on that line, where do you think it was? Just put your answer in the chat, and then we'll work our way into it of what we think.
Just a little bit of.
I think it's an important point to say that about instruction, that there are no rights or wrong in terms of learning through play instructions, because you could actually become playful by a lot of different types of instructions. This, I would probably say, was a bit further out to the right in terms of that there was a lot of structure here from the teacher's side, not so much student choice. The student, I didn't see if it was a boy or a girl, he or she kind of had to replicate or model what was shown. I don't know if he actually chose the brick himself.
He picks it from the ball.
Exactly. So there was a bit of choice there, at least, or some kind of element of randomness to it, and then had to reproduce it like that. So there is, it was from the other side of the spectrum, but he could actually become quite playful from that. It's not a bad thing. I would say that is that what we do all the time? we would be missing out on some opportunities, and the game would actually also maybe quite soon be a little bit boring.
Yeah,
it looks a lot like, I would say, a lot of classical schooling. So many of us have gone to,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
many of us have gone to schools where we should reproduce the knowledge that our teachers wrote on the blackboard and remember it for the test on Friday.
Yeah.
And it is it's a good way to learn stuff, to model.
Yeah.
But I would say if we as teachers only do this, we should really think about expanding our approach and do other things as well.
Yeah. And that's not that easy when you work with blind students, because sometimes you have to teach them some techniques that are needed to track a line, for example, and to really to give them information, enough information, enough technical information, so that they can then freely and participate. So that as a teacher, it can be difficult not to be sometimes too much, to put too much instruction.
And most people from the chat agree with you that it is most the instruction part of this activity.
No, we picked it for that reason, right? Sorry, to try to stay one side and for the other side, and hopefully in the next videos we'll see if we could maybe strike some kind of balance. And I really, because I would say that it's not so different, Mark, from I would say from teaching, I would say ordinary children in a classroom, because they also need to learn things in physics that you need to tell them for them to be able to experiment.
Of course.
So it's when to make that shift from I need to show you this, or I'll show you how to do it, and then moving on from that point on is interesting. But maybe we could see more in some of the other videos of ways that could be done. Yeah.
So we can be ready for the video number 3. So this one comes from UK. So we are traveling today. And this,
thank you also for sharing all these videos. People allowed us to share them for the 24-hour challenge we had in June, and we still have them, and they are really great.
Exactly. So the video that we are going to see, just a few words about it. We, in fact, on the base plate are arranged a few bricks, a line of bricks, a whole row of bricks representing letters. And at the bottom of the base plate, you have the exact same bricks, but in a different order. And the activity of the child is to read what is on the top of the row and to find the same bricks at the bottom and replace it just under the first bricks. So maybe we can watch it.
Snap, 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 snap. L, 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 L. I found. Snap, 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 snap. Snap, 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 snap. Snap. I need to find an O. I found the O. Here we are. Snap, snap. We've only got 2 snaps. Now this is a set of them.
What letter is it?
I don't know. It's an F.
An F would be dots 1, 2, and 4. And this is
1, 2.
And 1, 2, and 5.
3.
Last letter, it's an H you're feeling now. So it's like an F, it's like a J, it's like a D, because they've all got 3 letters.
Now I need to find the next. I have found and here we go. Here we go. Snap.
Yeah, and before we go on, just an explanation. In fact, the girl managed to find the correct brick, the similar bricks, but was not able to read what was written on the brick. So here, I think that there are a lot of interesting things to say about this video. So what are your thoughts about that? And Is it free play? Is it instructional play? Is it somewhere else?
That's a good question.
We have the answer in the chat.
Yeah, I'm sure
Already?
we have the real experts.
It's a guided
out
play
here.
game the child converts in a game.
It's there are many things in this video, and I absolutely adore her. She is so wonderful. So first of all, so the design of the activity has an element of a challenge, right? So there is, I challenge you, something that is in disorder, could you please fix it and get it into the right order? So already there we are moving into something that is more a bit like a game, that has a purpose of like getting everything into order, and that has some really good benefits to it. There is actually, I would say, there is also some quite good element of child choice, even if there is a right way to get it. She decides what order she wants to do it in. She also, as you can see, clearly defines her own approach towards it. So she has this rhythm, rhymes. See in the chat, someone's noting that she's using both hands as well, which is crossing the midline, and it's giving all sorts of other good things that she does naturally. I'm quite sure that she hasn't been told how to do it, but she's just figuring it out herself. So that's amazing. We were talking about indicators before of playfulness. So when children start humming, it's usually a good it's usually a good thing, right? Kind of it's really a verbal expression of enjoyment. And she has this rhythm that she's moving the bricks with, so she's like tapping the floor.
And what is funny is that we are happy for her also.
Exactly, she's clearly enjoying it. And I definitely also want to give a shout out to the educator here, which I think is handling the challenge of error and correction in a really beautiful and elegant way, I think.
Exactly.
Where she's actually giving the child quite a long time to kind of figure out whether or not is she going to find out this herself. And when she then realizes that she's actually not going to find out, she kind of offers the answer in a really, really non-humiliating way, like that. She just kind of fixes it, and a second after she's back and snap, and that's, I would say, that was beautifully, elegantly done, and I believe that they had a good time, both of them.
Even if at one time she lay down on the base plate and we thought, will she wake up again?
Exactly. No, but I think the teacher did a brilliant job there of kind of stepping in, asking a few guiding questions, also kind of connecting to the other letters that had the same amount of dots, so there was a bit of repetition to some of the things.
So Bridget says, I don't think this was the first time playing this game. Child was enjoying it until she found the unknown brick, balance of play and instruction.
Exactly.
Correct.
Elaine says, so playful. Agree. And Marie, how important to use the correct terms. The letter she did not know is made of the dots.
And especially that's something that is interesting. Of course, we all know that letter D, letter F, letter J, and letter H are difficult because they are a combination of 3 dots. And of course, we know that it could be tricky, and that's a good way to introduce one difficult letter in the whole row of letters.
That's what Mary says.
Okay.
The teacher called the dots letters. So
I've noticed that too.
And Elena also says the girl is connected to the game. That the voice with the instruction interrupts her.
It's such a beautiful balance again. So if you see a child making an error, kind of, should you step in, should you not step in? I really believe that the educator here did a beautiful job of doing it in a really non-humiliating way, kind of just asking, and is that the same? I don't think that there's a correct answer also, because it depends a little bit on the child. So she probably knows this child and knows how long time would she how frustrated would she be with an error or not. But she immediately snapped back into the play afterwards. So it seemed like
that's the name.
Snap. Okay, No, so love the video. Good example. Moving more towards the middle, I would say, of the continuum. So there was structure to it. There was a plan from the teacher side, but there was more child choice, both in terms of how to do it and the strategy she used.
Yeah, and that's about those letters that can be difficult. That's also a question that we can have as practitioners to maybe we can say, oh, it will be too challenging for each child to learn this specific thing. So I won't try, and I don't want to be my child, my students to be in certain kind of difficulty. Mm-hmm. And that's great to have a fun activity, and then they can be challenged a little, and then they can enjoy the activity anyway.
But I'll say that iteration allows for you to not get it right the first time.
Yeah.
So actually, it's almost like a problem if our students does it perfectly first time, because that's like, then we actually probably have set the bar a little bit too low.
Yeah,
it's better if they are allowed to kind of get there and then fix it. And yeah.
And Bridget says, I guess that H was the letter the child was struggling with.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
and it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
And now we know, thanks to Mary, that Snaps is a matching game in the UK.
That's where she got it from.
Thank you.
That's where she got it from.
We really like this game.
Yes.
Okay, are we ready for the last video?
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last video need maybe a little more explanation than the other ones, because that's a series of videos that leads to
Mr. Fix-It, can you please fix it?
Which is the last one. So the video comes from Australia, and first the activity was made by an occupational therapist, and she proposed to the child an activity called Build a Fence. So where the child has to make the whole perimeter with the bricks, to fill the perimeter of the base plate with the bricks. And suddenly one
Mr.
of the
Fix-It,
bricks,
can you please?
Mary.
Don't stop, Mark, go on.
Yeah, and suddenly one of the brick fell out of the base plate, and the child said, but one brick is missing. And he had an idea to propose an activity called Mr. Fix-It. In fact, it was not the idea of this little boy was to say, but and what if I fix the wall putting another brick? Mm-hmm. And Patricia, the occupational therapist, say, okay, but why don't we call this activity Mr. Fix-It? And you are going to fix holes that are in the wall that I have made. So from an activity Build a Fence, then we can say the boy had an idea, and the teachers also had an idea, and it goes on. And finally, it leads us to this activity called Mr. Fix-It. Now you can play the video.
Yes, can't wait to see it.
Please fix the holes in the wall. There's lots of holes in my wall.
I did it, Mr. Fix-It.
Oh, I think there's some more holes in the wall. Can you please find where those holes are in the wall?
I'll turn this over to Miss Fix-It.
Thank you, Mr. Fix-It. Please fix my wall. It's broken.
Oh,
Can you please fix the wall?
he did
Oh,
it.
I think there might be some more holes in the wall. Oh, thank you, Mr. Fix-It. I think there's only one more hole in the wall. Can you please find the hole and fix it?
I will.
Keep finding it. There's one more hole in the wall.
I'll put lines together.
You can, but I think that I have found the hole in the wall up here somewhere. Oh yeah, I like how you can fix it. You're very good, Mr. Fix-It.
Hello, Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah, so maybe
First comment, so cool, so funny.
yeah, exactly. And maybe I guess that Pierre, you would like to ask the same questions to all the people. In which category is it? Is it guided play? Is it instructional? Is it in the middle? Is it free play?
Exactly.
So I ask question for you now.
Please, no, but I would like to hear the real experts about it. Where do they
But
kind
they
of
have an
feel?
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh yeah, I get all warm inside from watching videos like this. It's amazing. So again, back to the indicators of what would we be looking for in a child to understand if they are playful or not. Looking at this little fella here, that deep focus, that staying on task for a long time, even if it could be challenging, that's just there kind of, and he's smiling and he's all of this. But I would actually like to start with the teacher maybe, because so much credit should go out to the educator here, because she is like capturing the moment and is taking an idea that came from the child and is using that opportunity to actually create a new play, but that is actually probably serving the same purpose as the first one did. So I would imagine that he's exercising to familiarize himself with the bricks, learn how to attach them and all of those things, and kind of just capturing that moment of introducing a role play, which is also, I would say, another thing that is amazing in play, right? Because when we have a role, suddenly we can do other things that we actually could when we just were ourselves, or at least in our imagination we can. We're also more prepared to fail. So if Mr. Fix-It, he's kind of putting something wrong, it's not so bad as if it was me. So I just really want to applaud the educator here, because to establishing this. We talk a little bit about a serve and return motion between the child and the adult. It's a term that comes from Jack Shonkoff and the Center for the Developing Child at Howard, where he talks a lot about that. Sometimes the children start something, they kind of serves, and we can capture that and return, and we can go back and we can go forth. And it's a little bit the same thing that actually happens here, that the child comes up with an idea, the teacher catches it and creates a new situation for it.
And then he can be really engaged.
We saw that clearly, right? And had a good time.
And happy.
And happy. And I would imagine that the educator was having a good time too.
Yeah. All educators are having good time.
Not
usually.
I'm not too sure.
Usually, not sure, but usually a lot of people working with blind children are
so
kind of
so passionate. Yes, exactly. No, but my whole point is that it's a good checklist for us, that if we are enjoying ourselves and having a good time, it's also easier for us to install that feeling with the child.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
we have Bridget saying, as educators, we can adapt the games to suit the needs of the child.
Yes.
Maybe one last thing to share.
Oh, you're putting on a model here.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is one of the pedagogical models we use in the LEGO Foundation when we talk about how to facilitate learning through play. And this is, the triangle is like a classical Vygotsky-ish pedagogical triangle, which is quite well known. And the educator who's tumbling that triangle around has a certain mindset. And what we would be looking, we could explain it by saying that if you have a traditional mindset, you would say, I'm a really clever teacher, and my students, if they are lucky, they'll be as clever as me. So now I'll tell them everything I know so that they can copy me. And that would probably be the way that I prepare. And you could also see that I would be doing a lot of modeling and like rote learning in the practice. And the reflection would probably be me giving them a test to see if they have learned what I know.
Yeah.
With the learning through play mindset is more what we have been talking about here today in terms of seeing the child and actually also seeing yourself as a learner, as someone who's flexible and is ready to adapt towards whatever their needs are. I would say when we have been out, when I have been so pleased to be out at different schools that work with visually impaired children, I see that all the time. That is what you guys are doing, right? So I see that's the mindset that you work with these children with. But that mindset, of course, influences how we design our lessons. Actually, it could be really good to involve the students sometimes. Maybe go into the lesson with like a half-finished idea and then ask the student kind of, hey, I have this idea of we could make this game. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, we have a suggestion. Susie says, instead of fixing walls, it can be fix to keep their sheep or cows from getting out.
Exactly.
So if you have sheep, cows.
I used to teach in area of farming as well. So we have also been reading a lot of books about tractors and things. I was kind of where they kind of say, I want to know more about this. I want to learn about that. So take their perspective into this. So in the design,
it's a fence.
Exactly. In the design, kind of you would already think about how could the children, the thing about choice, which we have talked a lot about today as well. In this activity we do, what kind of choices do my students have or not have? That of course leads towards a practice where we try it out, and where we must be ready to, as we saw in the last video, to capture moments, to adjust our approach like that. The reflection one, that I would say that could be so many more things than just doing a test. It could be that we were like celebrating what we have been doing. Maybe we are showing it to someone else or telling about it, or we have some kind of a portfolio where we try to somehow capture some of the things that we're really proud of. Engage the parents as much as we can, engage others, maybe invite other classes in to kind of show what we have been doing. And that's definitely a way that we like within learning through play to kind of reflect and evaluate upon the things that we do, and not just do the test only. So that was just to explain a little bit about, I would say, that that pedagogical model attached the learning through play mindset. It is so much about how we see ourselves and how we see the child.
Yeah. And what is great is that there is no good or bad way of teaching, or learning through play can be really, really diverse. That's great.
Children are different, as you all know, right? So what works for child number one does not necessarily work for child number two, which means that we need to be the most flexible person in that room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And maybe if we think back of the line at the beginning between free play and instructional, children will also need you to swing between these two. Depends the moment, how they are, the kind of game, and so on.
And a little tip on that is, it can be good to actually ask them, would you like me to show you how to do it, or do you want to figure it out for yourself?
Yeah,
that kind of just really, and that's back to the mindset of the design, kind of that it's really hard for me to design something perfect for the child without having the child in that equation.
Yeah.
So that is
We have to fix one wall because a snake is living, says Susie. So I'm afraid of snakes, so I'm not going to stay here.
Get a wall.
Okay, thank you. We could watch many more videos. It will be so interesting.
We really had to make choices between a lot of video that we have, and once again, thank you for sending us all those videos. They are really all amazing.
Yes, but I am the timekeeper, so if we want to have more comments in the chat and be able to answer or comment, we should keep time. Please do it. I shared with you the link to go on the website to find all the other live session links to register. If you were struggling, someone says he could not copy paste, you just go to legobrainbricks.com. You have facilitation, that's a section, and then you will scroll down and find all the information about the live sessions, the next ones, and the links to register, and also about the online course. So next month, it will be math, advanced math. So hopefully we will work, we will have a session with Sue from UK. She works in Worcester College, and she will have some amazing ideas of advanced math, geometry. We're going to explore geometry a little bit. So if you want to share ideas with us too, you can do it. You know that you can contact us, or you can share things on Facebook. So math, advanced math next month. And after that, it's going to be April. So the 10th of April is a Sunday. We
not sure we want to be here on Sunday. So
it will be the 11th Monday, same time. That means 5 p.m. London time, but Monday, 11th. And we're going to talk about science and computing. Try to see what we can do with Lego Braille Bricks in science, in computing, in physics, chemistry, and so on. And we're going to have a special guest from Finland, who will be
Sami.
Sami is a science teacher, math teacher also, and he likes computing. So he will share great ideas and all kinds of things.
Can I share a short message to our
Yes.
audience? It's from the Lego Foundation. We just really want to thank all of you so much for being here, for engaging in the community, and most of all for the job you do every day with these children. Our mission, the foundation, is to make sure that every child around the world benefits from learning through play and are building the skills that they need to thrive and has as good a life as possible. And what you do is truly, truly amazing. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Pierre.
That's a good conclusion, I think.
Someone is asking how I can register for this meeting, next one. So go on the website. You will also have reminders on Facebook with direct links. But if you go on the website facilitation section, you will find all the links to register for advanced math, then science and computing. We will also have music in May and orientation and mobility in June.
Yeah.
I think it's time to leave. We're 1 minute late. So see you next month.
Yeah.
And
Goodbye.
thank you.
Bye.